Okay, we've copied the easy data from the AJAX call from the JSON data structure into the web page. We've got the screen with the data from the screen, the movie title, the rating, and the time that took ages. We've got those all set up. And now what we want to do is transfer data from the JSON format um, so that it produces a seat grid. You can see that the file I've given you has done the first couple of columns. And that is transferring data from here. You can see this UMAP data structure. The UMAP data structure is saying the first seat is blank, the second seat there is O, that means it's free, and that's transposed here, that's a space and that's an O. Now this is a left armchair, and we can see that that comes from the TMAP data. You see that L there? That's indicated by having a border down here and a bottom border there. That's to indicate the left-hand side of a sofa. This is the left-hand side of a sofa and the right-hand side of a sofa because in this row we've got an L followed by an R. Both of those seats are free, and that's indicated by these two zeros. In row D, those two seats are taken. That's indicated by these two X's. So I'm transferring data from this grid, this list of strings, and this list of strings, and transferring data from both of those arrays into this table. It's a teeny bit more complicated than that because there's also this data here, the row labels. You can see this is another parallel array. There are 7 items there, numbered 0 through to 6, and those are appearing in the first column. So that's data from 3 different sources that I want to transfer and put into this table. Let's take a look at it. So this all happens in JavaScript, and just to give us to remind ourselves where we are, this is the ready function here. So the ready function kicks off when the page is ready, when the components have loaded, and the first thing we do is to make an AJAX call, and after some time that returns, and this success function here will start. So this happens after this data structure D, which corresponds exactly to this thing here, this data structure. D is available to the program, and we've put in the movie title, the screen, the rating, and we messed considerably with the date and put that in. We've got the showtime, we've got the movie poster has been put in place, and now it's time to fill in this table. And the code that I've given you is all right, but we don't really want it. Let's get rid of all of that. So DD deletes a line, and I just hold down dot to get rid of everything down to here. This function we'll look at in the next video. This is what happens when the user clicks on a TD. But for now, what I want to do is to create a table, fill it with data that's drawn from these 3 things: row label, TMAP, and UMAP. So it's basically a 2-dimensional structure, and so that means I'm going to use nested loops. I'm going to use a set of loops inside a set of loops. And my outer loop goes for var I equals 0, I is less than. Okay, so there are 7 items in the list, so it's I is less than 7, I++, close that, close and open a new one, and each time around that I'm going to be interested in d dot, for example, tmap square brackets I. That should be a string that I want to do something with, and let's just console log it for the moment, just to look at that. Okay, so we're not doing anything with the data yet, we're just seeing how it works. So let's write that out and reload, and we can see on the console immediately we've got those 7 rows got printed out. I never want to have a number like 7 showing up there. The reason I picked 7 was because the data structure I was looking at, this one here, that's DTMAP, that's got 7 things in it, and it's much better to say, instead of 7, we say d.tmap.length, and that'll always be right. So if the theater gets bigger, then our program will still work. Okay, what are we going to do with this data? We want to put it into a table. So I can create a table, var table equals $dump table. I forgot my quote. So an empty table, and that's the table. And oh, as soon as I create a table, I'm going to put it straight away into the body. It's odd to dump it just at the end. It's more likely there's a place it should go. I'm tempted to step out of this and look at the HTML. Let's take a look at index.html to see where exactly I should put that. Oh, looks like I've already got a table there. So that table, theatre tab, that's the one I should be using. I shouldn't be creating a new table. Might as well use the one that was created for me. So instead of creating a table, what I'm going to do is find that table. So it's called T-tab, what's table? Theatre map. Okay, and there's no need to append that to the body because it's already in the body. Okay, so every time this outer loop is going over my list of strings, and each string is going to correspond to a row of that table. So I'll create a thing for the row, $dump tr. I've forgotten my quotes again. Okay, so that's created a row, and that row gets appended to the table that I just found. Okay, and then I want to put an item into that. Let's just see what we're doing. Let's create a TD. This isn't how that thing's going to end up eventually, but just to take it one stage at a time, I'm going to create a TD, and I'm going to give it the text of this thing here that I was previously console logging. I'm going to put that into the table. So I'll create a TD element whose text is that map that I want to put in, close the round bracket, and that I'm going to put into the TR. So append to TR. Okay, this isn't right. I just want to see what I'm doing. So write that out and reload. And I'm seeing the data's there. That's okay. It's not how I want it. These things aren't lining up. You'll notice that those spaces again collapsed. And that's just how HTML displays stuff. So here we can see with fixed width, you can see the structure quite clearly. Here, when I'm just putting them in as strings, all those spaces are getting reduced, and you can't see the structure so much. I really need an inner loop as well. So let's put in the inner loop. So for var, okay, now I always like to have I equals 0, but I can't because I already used I, so I'm going to have to go with j. For j equals 0, j is less than some number, can't think what it is right now, let's guess at 15, j plus plus. Okay, and what I want to do is create a TD each time. Oh, let's just use that one there and indent it because I'm inside another loop. I'm going to create a TD, but I'm not going to put the whole thing in. I'm just going to take character number J out. Okay, now I guessed at 15. I'm going to guess at 10 to be on the safe side. Let's write that out and reload. Okay, that's looking better. We can see this structure here is reflecting quite nicely this Tmap structure. I guessed at the number 10, and that clearly wasn't right. It needs to be a bit bigger than that. How big should it be? We don't want numbers like 10 showing up in there. How long should this be? Well, we are looking at d.tmap of I. That's a string, and that string has got a length, so I can actually run over up to its length. So that should work, and it shouldn't matter if I've got a ragged array, if some of these strings are shorter than others, that should all work. Let's see what that looks like. Write that out and reload. Now I'm getting the full structure. Everything is just fine. Okay. Actually, I don't want that text in there. I'm going to put in the text A, just so that I can see it. And reload. Okay, there's A's everywhere. What I actually want to do, I want to set classes. So what I want is each cell to have a different class depending on the different possibilities. We look at this thing here. There are three kinds of seat. You can have a left armchair, a left sofa, a right sofa, or an armchair. So three types. You can also have three conditions each can be in. Green means it's free, grey means it's been taken, and pink means it's mine. So there are three different seat types, three different conditions a seat can be in. giving us a total of 9. So if we multiply those up, we've got 9 different possibilities. And I'm going to set the class, add class. Okay, so I want to pick the data out of d.tmap square brackets I square brackets j, and that will be either an L or an R or an M. No, LRA, or it could actually be a space, but if it's a space, then nothing much will happen here. So that's added the class from the tmap. I can do a very similar trick with the umap. Okay, in which case it will be a space or an O or an X or an M. Let's just see what that looks like. So we write it out and reload. And it's not looking promising, but let's right click. This guy here is blank. This guy here is a left armchair that I think is free. Let's inspect it. So that is a left armchair. L means it's a left armchair, O means it's free. The one next to it, let's get them both in view. The one next to it there, that is a right armchair that's free. Next one's a left armchair that's free. Scrolling down, there is a right armchair that's taken and a left armchair that's taken. So it's kind of okay. I've got the data I need in there. It's just that I can't see it. If I want to see it, what I've got to do is pick up the different conditions. This first value here can take any one of 3 values. This one can take any one of 3 values. That's 9 possibilities in all. And if I have 9 rules in my CSS, I should be able to see that happening. Let's have a go. So I'm going to edit dom.css. Okay, these rules here are pretty useless. Let's get rid of them. Okay, and let's make up a rule. So that guy there, left armchair, that's free. One way to find that is to say .l.o. You can have more than one class. Very commonly, we only have one class on each element, but there's no reason for that. There's no reason it should only be one. You can have 2 or 3 or as many as you like, and you address them just by putting dots against them. Take care not to put any spaces. A space means something, so if I put a space in this rule, it would mess up. Okay, so I have 9 conditions, and I should have 9 images. Now let's have a look. Here are my images. I've actually got 12 images. I never use the blank ones, but I've got DOM armchair free. The one I'm looking for is a left armchair that's free. DOM sofa left free. That's the one there. So that image corresponds to this condition here, .l.o. So the phrase is background image, I think. Background image, and you write URL, and in the brackets you put, without quoting, you put the address of the image, which is DOM free sofa. Let's see if that works. Write that out and reload. Doesn't seem to be working. .lo, background image, all looks good. Can't see what's wrong with it. I'll try a hard reload. Okay, let's investigate. This one should have the right thing. Inspect it. It's got that. The class is saying the right thing. I think I know what it is. We can't see it because most of that sofa is actually free. Let me just copy that. Okay, so if I go to there, okay, you can see the actual image is quite big and that's white, and so all we're seeing is that bit there. Okay, fix for that is to change the background size. Okay, so background size is cover. Cover is quite handy. What cover says is shrink the image, or indeed grow the image if you have to. Shrink the image or grow the image so that the aspect ratio is respected. Now the aspect ratio, that's the ratio between the width and the height. The aspect ratio is respected, but either dimension is stretched so that it completely fills the shape you want to fill with no gap visible. And because that's roughly square, and the space I want to put it in is roughly square, well, it's not yet, but it will be, it should work out okay. Okay, so I've got that cover rule in. Let's write that out and let's reload. Okay, that's more like it. It would be easier to see if I took the A's away. And the A's weren't doing us any good anyway, so let's take the A's away. Oh, nope, that's in here. VI DOM. So that was putting the A's in. We don't want any text in there at all. Get rid of that and write it out and reload. Okay, that's kind of made it tiny and horrible. Let's make it bigger. Okay, so I want VI DOM CSS. Okay, I want every TD, that rule's not doing anything, so every TD I want it to have a minimum width. Min width is, let's say, 2x, and while we're at it, let's set the height to be 2x. Save both those, reload. Okay, that's looking good. I've got the left sofas in place. I want the right sofas in the same way. Okay, so this rule here, that cover, that's going to apply to everything. So I'm going to take that out and put that in the TD because everyone got that. I'm going to collapse this one here, join and join. That's J, I just did there. And I'm going to yank PP. That's a left sofa and a right sofa and a armchair. Okay, so that's a right armchair, and this one here I think is called, let's just check. LS, that is DOM armchair free. DOM armchair free. I missed the A and I put the underscores in the wrong place. Okay, so all my free seats should be showing up now. Looking good. We're missing the seats that have already been booked and we're not seeing the ones that we've booked. But that's just a question of putting in the rules. So I've got 3 rules there. 3YP, that's yank and paste. So they were, let's look at X. So the X ones, I think we just replaced the word free with taken. Yep, taken. So change word taken, dot and dot, write that out. Okay, that's good. And then the final 3 shift Y, shift P, so that's yank and paste. So this is M, I think, RM dot. Okay, let's just, this one I think is mine. If I right click and inspect, you can see, yes, that's LM. So the rule I'm making up has got .L.M. Okay, and the image, appropriate image, I'm pretty sure is mine. Dot and dot. So that's 9 rules. That was relatively painless. Let's reload. Looking good. So the ones I picked are pink. The ones that are taken are grey, and the ones that are free are green. Okay. What else do I want? I want this stuff down here, and I want it repeated down here. So that's the row labels. So I want them inserted here and here. And I should be able to find the corresponding point in my JavaScript. Let's have a look. So I want there to be a new TD at the beginning of this row. So here's the row being created. So if before I go into this loop, I add a TD, let's just do that. So before that loop, I'm going to say tr dot append. I'm going to make up a new TD, and I'm not going to name it because all this is going to do is contain the row label. So the text here will be the row label, which I'll work out in a minute. Let's just put in AWH and reload. Yep, Andrew was here all the way down there, and I want that same line to happen after the loop, so I put in the same thing down here as well. Okay, it's not AWH that I want. What do I want? Well, I want to index into the row label network. Here we go. This row label array, this can be indexed by exactly the same variable that was indexing tmap and umap, which is I. So I can ask for row label bool I. So I is available and in scope, and that of course is d.rowLabel. And if that works, no it didn't, got a problem. What's my problem? There's my error, console sources. Okay, haven't got enough of the console visible. Alright, cannot read property 0 of undefined.